For more than 20 years,
I think we're just going to shut this down because I'm not into all this melodrama and you playing the victim and everything.
millions of Americans watched private breakdowns unfold on national television and called it help. A man with a doctorate and a mustache would lean forward, listen carefully, and deliver a verdict before the second commercial break. The audience would nod, the cameras would zoom in, a list of resources would appear on screen. When Dr. Phil premiered in 2002, it became one of the biggest syndicated launches of its era. At its peak, it drew millions of viewers a day and dominated daytime television. The formula was simple: a problem, a confrontation, a lesson, closure. His catchphrase, "How's that working for you?"
If I give you this check to hit the reset button and start over,
distilled therapy into a single camera-ready question. For years, it felt like clarity. It felt like accountability. It felt like public service, but therapy depends on privacy. Television depends on spectacle. And once those two share a stage, the incentives start to shift.
because that would get you out of debt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the rise and slow unraveling of Dr. Phil. Before he was daytime television's resident life referee, Dr. Phil was a courtroom strategist. Phil McGraw earned a PhD in clinical psychology in 1979, but he didn't build his early career in a therapy office. He founded Courtroom Sciences Incorporated, a company that helped lawyers shape trial strategy and select juries. He wasn't just reading emotions, he was reading rooms. That skill changed everything in 1998.
Say to yourself that gives you the right to take somebody else's car.
When Oprah Winfrey was sued by Texas cattle ranchers in the now infamous Texas beef trial, McGraw joined her legal team as a jury consultant. She won. That victory became his origin story. On the Oprah Winfrey Show, he wasn't introduced as a practicing clinician. He was framed as a blunt life strategist, the man who could cut through emotional chaos in under a minute. Oprah's trust became his credibility, and the timing was perfect. Daytime syndication was booming.
His car.
What now? I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Are you speaking English?
Really? Because I think I flipped you.
You want to do it again?
Audiences were already hooked on televised vulnerability. So when Dr. Phil premiered in September 2002, produced by Oprah's Harpo Productions, the infrastructure was ready. The show debuted to roughly 7 million viewers and quickly became one of the highest rated syndicated talk shows in America.
Danny, don't get all tough. Please don't. This is not the place, and this is not the
sit
time.
down.
Sit down.
Sit down.
It would run for over 20 seasons, dominating the daytime category for years. The formula was simple. Take the language of therapy, remove the privacy, add stage lighting. Guests brought addiction, family implosions, and personal crises into a brightly lit studio. Dr. Phil delivered sharp assessments and camera-ready sound bites. Referrals were mentioned, resources were cited. It looked like treatment.
I don't say anything to myself. I just say, all right, there's a car. There's some keys right in front of me. I know where the car at.
But here's the detail most viewers never questioned. For most of his television career, Dr. Phil was not actively licensed as a practicing psychologist. He had the doctorate, he had the authority, but he was operating as a media personality. And once therapy language meets Nielsen ratings and ad revenue, something shifts.
Did you go to the 5th grade? No, I'm asking, how far did you go?
You're no longer just helping people, you're producing a format. And formats are built to scale, not to heal. Here's the thing about formats built on confrontation. Eventually, confrontation stops feeling therapeutic and starts feeling profitable. From the beginning, there was a quiet tension baked into the show's DNA. Was this public education or was it televised diagnosis? Because when you take clinical language and compress it into television tempo, something gets lost. Usually nuance.
This left his parents mortified. Now,
Right from the video, they've been drinking quite a bit.
No, I don't love you, Mom.
Sometimes ethics. The first serious ripple came in 2004. A CBS primetime special featured Dr. Phil discussing a child using criteria associated with serial offenders. The National Alliance on Mental Illness publicly criticized the segment, calling it ethically troubling and potentially harmful, and urged oversight. The show responded that experts had been consulted and that critics lacked full context. Translation: we say this is responsible. They say this is reckless. And just like that, the question became louder. Critics also resurfaced an uncomfortable detail.
Take him. Because he's worthless right now.
The 22 and the 9mm stayed in the vest, and
Despite the clinical framing, Dr. Phil had not maintained an active psychology license during most of the show's run. Is this awareness? Is this labeling? Is this television playing psychiatrist?
Seeing a black person is like going to the zoo. You only want to go there a few times, but if you go there all the time, you know everything that goes on.
Around the same time, another storyline began to unfold: commercialization. Between 2003 and 2006, Dr. Phil was connected to a diet and supplement line called Shape Up. The Federal Trade Commission investigated advertising claims related to the product, and production eventually stopped. In 2006, a class action settlement worth $10.5 million was reported for consumers. Dr. Phil himself was not personally liable for the payment. The man preaching personal accountability was now adjacent to a supplement controversy. Optics matter.
What are you hiding?
I don't have anything to hide.
Well, then why are you yelling so nonstop?
Because I'm angry, Dr. Phil.
But the deeper cracks were not about vitamins. They were about vulnerability. In late 2017, investigative reporting by Stat News and the Boston Globe examined how addiction treatment centers valued Dr. Phil's endorsements and described marketing and incentive structures that critics argued could blur ethical lines. The reporting also included allegations from former guests who claimed unsafe conditions during addiction-related segments. The show denied facilitating substance use and emphasized voluntary participation.
Angry. Do you know how it feels when somebody lies about you? And tries to make you look crazy?
And that it was not a medical facility. Again, dual narratives. The brand promise was rescue. The criticism was exploitation. Then came the viral era.
I'm just angry, Dr. Phil.
Okay.
You can't tell me you care about my child when you don't.
In 2016, a teenage guest named Danielle Bergoli appeared on the show. You may know her by the immortal phrase, "Cash me aside, how about da?" What started as a chaotic confrontation turned into a global meme, remix culture, and eventually a music career. On one hand, the show was more culturally relevant than ever. On the other hand, it had become a meme factory. Therapy as TikTok before TikTok. And the fallout did not stop there. In 2021, Bergoli publicly alleged abuse at a Utah facility, Turnabout Ranch, where she had been sent after her appearance. A separate legal case involving another former guest raised allegations related to the same facility, though claims against Dr. Phil and CBS were dismissed under anti-SLAPP protections and later appealed. The promise was help. The perception was pipeline. But the moment many critics say it truly jumped the shark happened in 2016.
And you filled this up with vodka, didn't you?
Shelley Duvall, an actress known for her work in The Shining, appeared on the show in a visibly fragile mental state. The episode drew immediate backlash. Public figures criticized it as exploitative. Later reporting described how Duvall regretted the experience. Dr. Phil defended his intentions and stated that off-camera assistance had been offered, while acknowledging that promotional framing may have been inappropriate. This was no longer just tough love. This was spectacle. And once the internet smells spectacle, it does what the internet does. It clips, it quotes, it mocks, it debates. Then came 2020. During a Fox News appearance, Dr. Phil compared COVID-19 death figures to other causes of death in a way widely criticized as misleading. The clip circulated. On Last Week Tonight, John Oliver devoted an entire segment to dissecting not just the COVID comments, but years of what he framed as irresponsible televised advice. Dr. Phil later apologized for his phrasing. The expert persona was now part of the culture war clip cycle. Add to that 2022 reporting describing allegations of a toxic workplace environment, including claims of intimidation and racism, which the show's legal representatives denied.
And it's still got some in it, a little bit.
Can I have it?
By this point, the cracks were not subtle. They were structural. The tension between help and entertainment had become the central story. And in February 2023, it was officially announced that the daytime talk show would end after 21 seasons, though reruns would continue and new strategies were planned. By its final seasons, ratings were a fraction of the early 7 million viewer peak. 21 seasons is not a failure, but the ending did not feel triumphant. It felt inevitable, because somewhere along the way the question shifted, not how is that working for you, but who is this really working for? The strange thing about Dr. Phil is that it did not collapse in one dramatic explosion. It eroded. For years, the show survived on the strength of its formula: problem, confrontation, moral clarity, applause.
Not to go to college right now.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's stop that right now. That's a complete load of crap.
But in the age of streaming, TikTok, and algorithmic outrage, repetition starts to look like parody. And Dr. Phil became a parody of himself. A format that once pulled in around 7 million viewers a day no longer commanded that kind of cultural gravity. The confrontations grew louder, the diagnoses felt faster, the emotional stakes somehow felt both higher and less authentic. Vulnerability became content. Addiction became a segment. Teen rebellion became a catchphrase waiting to happen. We do not tune in for healing anymore. We tune in for clips. We tune in for the moment someone says something unhinged. The very clipability that once helped the show thrive on social media turned into its trap.
This note.
Let
Let me please have an intelligent conversation.
In the early years, a strong soundbite built authority. Now it builds memes. And memes are ruthless. By the end of the 2010s and into the early years of the next decade, the conversation around Dr. Phil was less about transformation and more about exploitation. The Shelley Duvall episode became shorthand online for "this should not have been televised." The troubled teen controversies fed into broader internet discussions about the abuse industry. The addiction reporting fueled debates about whether treatment was being framed as content. Even the COVID clip fiasco showed something deeper than a bad comparison. It showed that the authority of the television expert does not survive intact in the meme era. Once a clip leaves the studio, it belongs to everyone, and everyone has a fact check. The old television model assumed authority flowed one way, from stage to audience.
You can laugh at me, it's fine. I will be your spectacle. I will be your laughing spectacle. You can all laugh at me.
The internet reversed the direction. Meanwhile, the business side began to wobble. After ending the daytime run in 2023, Dr. Phil moved toward building his own media ventures. In 2024, he launched Merit Street Media in partnership with Trinity Broadcasting Network, positioning it as a bold new primetime venture. Within a year, it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and became entangled in legal battles, with media reporting on damage claims exceeding $100 million. Later coverage described a court-ordered liquidation under Chapter 7, alongside disputes about deleted messages and creditor concerns. That is not the arc of a stable media empire. It is the arc of a brand struggling to reinvent itself in a landscape that no longer believes in television sages. And here's the deeper issue. Dr. Phil was built for an era when expertise was centralized, when a stage, a studio audience, and a confident tone were enough to signal authority. Now, authority is crowdsourced, debated, memeified, dismantled in real time. Today, the format feels predictable. Guest arrives, emotional chaos escalates, Dr. Phil delivers tough love, resources are mentioned, internet reacts, think pieces follow. Repeat, the magic is gone because the illusion is gone. We no longer see a singular expert guiding broken families toward clarity. We see a content machine built on conflict.
She's healthier than I am.
No, she's not.
Actually,
no, she's
she
not.
is.
Unless you're in stage 4 cancer, she is not healthier.
And once you see the machine, you realize it was never therapy. It was television. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Dr. Phil was not a fluke. He was a fantasy that almost made sense. The fantasy was simple. Put dysfunction on stage, confront it with confidence, offer clarity, provide resources, send people home better than they arrived, roll credits. And for a while, that fantasy felt real. The show lasted 21 seasons before officially ending its daytime run in 2023. That is not an accident. That is cultural staying power. There were real viewers who felt seen. There were guests who say they received help. There was even academic research suggesting that watching the show correlated with greater intention to seek professional mental health support. So no, this was not pure villainy.
Fruits and vegetables, I don't even eat that much.
You have brainwashed these people. We did a pre-interview with her, okay?
Okay.
It was something more complicated. It was therapy filtered through television logic. And television logic demands escalation. It demands bigger confrontations, more extreme guests, sharper sound bites, viral moments. It demands something that plays well in a promo and even better in a clip. Over time, the promise of help collided with the incentives of entertainment. Ethical questions stacked up. Commercial ventures blurred lines. Viral moments overshadowed nuance. Controversies accumulated like layers of sediment. The format did not implode. It hardened. By the time the daytime show ended, the world had changed. Syndication was no longer king. Authority was no longer assumed. Every expert is now one clip away from becoming a meme. Every tough love monologue is one tweet away from becoming a think piece. And Dr. Phil kept adapting. New networks, new ventures.
You're describing, to have your life, what you need to do is hire you a hooker, a cook, and a babysitter.
Bankruptcy filings, distribution deals, reinvention attempts. But here's the real question. Was Dr. Phil ruined by scandal, or was he simply exposed by the internet? Because the core formula never changed. Public vulnerability plus confident authority equals compelling television. We wanted that, we rewarded that, we watched that, and now we act surprised that it turned into spectacle. Maybe Dr. Phil did not fail. Maybe the idea that television can fix people in 42 minutes was always the fantasy. So here's my final question. Do we actually want help on television, or do we just want to watch someone else be told how their life is not working?
To decide and bicker about the color of someone's hair. Are you kidding me?
If you enjoyed this psychological autopsy of daytime television, like, subscribe, and tell me which media empire should get a televised intervention next. How is that working for us?